Hi, boys and girls.
Let's see what we have in our garage today. Looks like a 2016 Audi A4 sedan to me. The Audi sedans are nice looking cars, that's the good news. The bad news is they kind of all look alike. Hard to tell one from the other. Nice looking vehicle from the side. Distinctive styling on the rear. No doubt we're looking at an Audi here. Especially when we're looking at the 400s. We picked this up with 10,000 miles on the clock. We're going to have a lot more before we're done. Speaking of test miles, before we had the Audi, we put approximately 1,300 miles on this BMW 3 Series. If you'd like to see that video test, we'll have a link for that at the end of this Audi video. The headlight systems on fancy German cars are either above average or below average. We're going to take these out tonight and see how they perform. It looks dark enough, so let's light up the countryside and see what happens. Here we have the headlights on low beam, focused on a wall 100 feet away. Beam's a little low, but more than adequate light. Now we'll go to high beam. Whoa, lights up real good. Here we have the headlights focused on a building 300 feet away on high beam. Plenty of light, almost like a flamethrower, no complaints here. Go to low beam. Just barely makes it, but it's bright along the way. Overall, these are very excellent headlights, no complaints whatsoever. Here's another example of the excellent performance we get on these headlights. Here the high beams are on a target 2,000 feet away. Reflective road signs, actually. And even on low beams you can still see the signs. That's a pretty good distance for back road driving. There's nothing better than a good set of powerful headlights on a vehicle when you're cruising the deserted back roads. Especially when there are big animals roaming around at night. We just finished a highway trip and we're filling it up with super premium again. Let's see what our mileage is. $2.17. A lot cheaper than the $2.60 I paid in the other town. I think I got ripped off. Let's see, according to my computer I got 26.1 mpg on this trip. But according to my pen and paper, I got 28.3 on this trip. Interesting. I think I'll go with the pen and paper figures. For now, anyway. On these tight mountain roads, the CVT automatic is great thanks to the manual shifter feature. Just put it in third gear, lock it there, and enjoy the ride. The torque on this turbo engine is fantastic. Pulls like a freight train. So 3 hours ago I was in town roasting my butt off at 115 degrees, and 3 hours later we made it to 9,000 feet. Or I'm freezing my butt off at I don't know what degrees, but it's cold enough. But with this turbo engine we made it in pretty good time anyway. Okay, all that night racing we did up the mountain, pushing the throttle pretty hard. It shows 18.0 mpg. Pen and paper said 17.8 mpg. Pretty close, I would say. I suspect this is going to be the worst mileage we're going to see in this car. It could only get better. This camera's not made for night use, but the best I can show you how the interior of this Audi lights up in the dark. Looks pretty cool, like the inside of a 747. This is definitely a great vehicle to operate at night. I think every control you can think of is lit up. Power windows, trunk release. But then that's what we're paying for, right? This is our next fuel stop. We did 120 miles, cruising at 80 miles per hour. The computer says 30.9 mpg. My pen and paper says 30 mpg. Close enough. I do believe this is about the best we're going to see on this car. Okay, I take that back. I just added around 130 extra miles, cruising 65 to 70 miles per hour, and the mileage increased to 32.6 mpg. So now I think we've reached the peak gas mileage we're going to see. Ordinarily, I get my vehicles directly from Audi, brand new. Unfortunately, they have kind of a vehicle shortage at the moment and had nothing to send. So I was driving down the street the other day and I saw a bunch of Audis being dropped off at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. So I went in and said how much for that doggy in the window, and they told me $370 a week with unlimited mileage. And I said, sign me up. The main advantage of a rental car like this, as I stated earlier, we get unlimited mileage. Not that I have mileage restrictions on a factory car, but if you turn it in with like 2,000 or 3,000 miles, after a week of driving, they have a tendency to get a little upset. That's not going to happen here. The disadvantage of a rental car is you don't get a window sticker, so I don't know how much this vehicle cost and what options it has. All I can tell you is the base car starts around $36,000, and after that, with options, it can go in the stratosphere. The second disadvantage of a rental car is that customers put standard unleaded. In this case, they should be putting super premium. So I'm going to have to run out this tank so we can refill it with some good stuff. But that's okay, we got the thing to drive, right? The only engine offered is a 2-liter turbo putting out 220 horsepower, rated at 22 to 32 mpg in 2-wheel drive, or 22 to 31 in all-wheel drive. This interior is a bit on the cramped side, and this is the bigger model A4. The A3 is even smaller. You can fit 2 adults in the second row seating, but if they're over 6 feet tall, it might be an issue. Some people have called this a 5-passenger. No, I don't think so. You can have the interior color in any shade you want as long as it's black. I don't think I've ever driven an Audi in my entire life that didn't have a black interior. Seems to be the norm. Black is a lousy color if you're living in a hot climate. It attracts heat like a magnet. And it's 114 degrees out today, so I think my butt's going to be fried on these seats. That's the bad news. But the good news is we did get an exterior paint color of white, which reflects heat like a mirror. So in the end we should be okay as far as temperatures go. A quick look at the cabin. We do have a nice gauge cluster with lots of useful information on the info pod in the middle. When you click the right button. The climate controls are easy to use once you understand how they work. For example, you have the temperature gauge here. But if you want to adjust the fan speed, you have to press this button. If you don't know that, it might be awkward to do it first. Upgraded A4s get the Multimedia information system. You have a knob here, inside buttons, radio, media, telephone, navigation. At the moment we're in radio mode. Then there's a menu for car settings, telephone, information, navigation, media, radio, tone. Vehicle settings, driver assist, air conditioning, service and checks. The first few days of ownership, this is a pain in the butt to program and use, but once you get everything hooked up, in about a week, you'll be cruising along just fine. We do get a nice extra large glove box, by the way. Thank you very much. A medium-sized console in between the seats. If you order the all-wheel drive A4, you get the choice between a 6-speed manual or an 8-speed automatic gearbox. If you order the 2-wheel drive, like we have here, you get this CVT automatic transmission. Now, as a rule, CVTs suck, but this one's pretty good. In fact, I didn't even know it was a CVT automatic until I looked it up in the owner's manual. I have no complaints about the performance at all. If you put it in manual mode, it splits up into 8 gears. So overall, I was not disappointed in the performance of this gearbox. I would have enjoyed having some paddle shifters on the steering wheel, but that's not going to happen because they don't offer it on this particular combination. The A4 comes in 2 configurations. Number 1 is the all-wheel drive, in which case you get a 6-speed manual transmission or an 8-speed automatic. Or one like this, which is 2-wheel drive, driven by the front wheels. It only comes with a CVT automatic transmission, which is divided up in 8 gears if you use the manual shifting mode. The official 0 to 60 mph time for the 2-wheel drive A4 usually runs between 6.6 seconds to 7.2 seconds, depending on what publication you're reading. I found it's closer to the 7.2 seconds myself. Now, this doesn't sound very quick, but it's very misleading. One of the reasons you have such a high time is because off the line you have about a second of turbo lag, where you hit the gas pedal and the car just doesn't want to move. We'll demonstrate this like so. See, it took about a second for the car to move, but once underway, not an issue at all, lots of power. Excellent brakes, by the way. We'll try that one more time. Notice how it lags off the line. See? Now we're finally moving, and moving very, very quick. Another feature I liked on the A4 was the power steering. It's quick, responsive, has excellent feel. I don't know if it's hydraulic or electric, but I don't care. It works just fine. Exactly the way you want it to. I'd like it better if I had paddle shifters on the steering wheel, but unfortunately we don't get that. And as we can see, the cornering ability is excellent too, as we'll be finding out when we get on a railroad. I'm trying my best to spin this out, but it's not happening. On the freeway, we've got all the passing power we need. The A4 is an excellent highway cruiser. Very smooth, quiet, with a comfortable suspension. By the way, that wind noise you hear isn't coming from the vehicle, it's coming from the air conditioning, which I have on high because it's still very hot outside. Otherwise, very quiet. It looks like somebody doesn't know how to drive. Which explains why I've been doing 10 miles per hour for the past half hour. Every time I drive by here, I make it a point to stop and show everybody the supersized toads they have around here. It's the water they drink. It makes them be about 10 times their normal size. Yeah, back on the road again. I thought I'd take a pit stop and show you one of the nicest ranches in the valley. A very nice spread. This is the Ruger Ranch, also known as Ruger Meadows. And they have another ranch right across the road there. Some high living, I would say. I wonder why they have two ranches. Maybe it's a his and hers deal, huh? Well, we got about 400 miles on the clock. I think it's time to take a break. which is what coming to Laughlin, Nevada is all about. Time to hit the casinos. Okay, we're done in the casino, and as usual, I busted the bank and took all their money. The bad news is I'm going to need all this money to pay for all this gas I'm running out. So you can watch this video. Uh-oh, looks like we're headed for a storm. A nasty one, too. Wish I had that Audi all-wheel drive, but unfortunately we don't have that. I can't believe this, a hailstorm in the middle of July. Hope the bodywork's covered by insurance. One of the advantages of this rainstorm is it allows me to show you one of the, what I consider a design flaw on this vehicle. Under the door here, it's what I call the dirt shelf. That collects dirt, mud, tar, anything that picks up on the road. And every time you get in and out of the car, your pants leg rubs on here. And now you're cleaning the car with your pants. Here's why I'm wearing my sweatpants. I'm not picking on Audi here. Basically, most German cars, BMW, Mercedes, they have this dirt shelf. It doesn't seem to serve any purpose in my mind. Someone told me it has to do with aerodynamics. I doubt it. All it does is get your pants dirty. And when it's raining like this, it's pretty hard to keep clean. But don't worry, your pants will take care of that. The dirt shelf needs to go away. That's my opinion. If you have an Audi or BMW Mercedes, keep a rag handy and keep this wiped down. No point in cleaning the dirt shelf now because I'm driving on a dirt road. It'll just get muddy seconds later, so let's just continue our driving test. Yeah, just what I need to hit at 80 miles an hour. Anybody want a steak? Keep your eyes on the road, safety first, because that's a heck of a drop. This is day 7. I'll be turning the car in today, and what an excellent time for the multimedia information system to short out on me. It's all dead, folks. I have no navigation, no radio, no menu. It's been frozen in Bluetooth mode all day. But that's why we have that excellent warranty system, right? Oh well. All I had was AM/FM radio anyway, and who wanted to listen to that? We're at the end of our 1-week test drive. This is our official mileage, 1,626 miles. I'll be adding another 25 to 50 before the car is turned in, but this is what we're logging on the video. Add this 1,626 mileage from the Audi and the 1,350 miles on the BMW 3 Series we tested just before this. The total for both cars came to around 3,000 miles. And I haven't added up the fuel bill yet, but I think it came to around $400 in super premium. We ran out of our tank, so you didn't have to run it out of yours. So you might be asking yourself, how does this A4 compare to its direct competitor, the BMW 3 and 4 Series? Well, for number one, we found the cabin design to be far easier to live with. A bit fancier, too. The Audi power steering had far better response and feedback than the BMW electric steering. Number 3, the Audi A4 has the best headlight system. I've used this here. Plenty of light, more than you'll ever need. On the other hand, the engine performance of the Audi turbo engine was mixed. A fantastic power plant above 10 miles per hour, but under 10 miles per hour to idle, it's a bit sluggish. Apparently Audi is going to solve that problem on the newer 2017 models with the newer engine. We'll just have to wait and see. And some potential buyers find the price tag to be a bit steep. 36 grand base is reasonable, but they have a way of climbing up towards that 50 grand level. But it's a nice car if you can afford it. Now, if you'd like to see our road test on the BMW 3 Series and the 1,350 miles we put on that, here's a link for that. The video's a bit on the long side, but hey, we cover about everything you need to know.